Hello, thank you for joining the Lazaridis School for our Beyond the Degree video series. My name is Graham and I'm the Corporate Engagement Officer for the Lazaridis School of Business and Economics at Wilfrid Laurier University and a BBA alumnus from 2011. Today we're joined by Lazaridis School BBA 86 alumnus, Bill Webb, partner at Waypoint Investment. Bill has been an active investor since the age of 14 with a long history of investing. Prior to joining Waypoint, Bill was Executive Vice President and Chief Investment Officer at Gluskin, Sheff and Associates. Bill's passion for investing is equaled only by his passion for rugby. Bill is the President, General Partner, Majority Owner, and Co-Founder of the Toronto Arrows, Canada's only professional rugby union team competing in the Major League Rugby. Bill, thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure to be here, Graham.
You did your BBA at the Lazaridis School. Why did you choose Laurier and what drew you to study finance?
Sure. Well, the number one thing that got Laurier on my radar screen was the CoOp program. Remember in grade 13 when it existed, and I was looking around. My father participated in the first CoOp program at University of Waterloo way back in the day, and he raved about how impactful that was, having some practical experience, plus earning some money and changing things up a little bit between studying in the classroom and having a co-op experience. And so that really caught my eye. And the more research I did on that, the more intrigued I became. Then there was a second factor. When I'd expressed interest, a mutual acquaintance introduced me to a professor at Laurier at the time, the late Dr. Tupper Causey. And Tupper invited me to come up. I was just a high school student, but he invited me to come up and visit his office. And I was from Brantford and it wasn't that far a trip. So I went up and saw him and we had a good chat about life and university and co-op and what I thought I might want to specialize in. And he actually offered me the opportunity to be a research associate and work with him in first year and write some business case studies. And I didn't even know I knew what a business case study was, but I hadn't done one yet. But I thought the idea of working, he was a terrific guy, very broad-minded. He was teaching organizational behavior, and I thought that was really cool. And so those were the two major factors. And I had visited the campus and thought the campus was fantastic. Knew the city of Waterloo and KW from just traveling up there for various reasons, and my dad having gone to school down that little school down the street. So those were the main factors. And in terms of studying finance, I mean, I studied broadly when I was at Laurier. I had an interest in finance, as you mentioned, from the time I was a young teenager. I was a member of an investment club from the age of 14 and invested for myself, and always had an interest in investing in finance. My actual majors, so to speak, over the course of my 4 years were in strategy and marketing, but did take a number of finance options and was always investing for myself all along the way, and participated in the investment club that I was in back in Brantford all the way through into my adult years.
Bill, you mentioned the co-op program, and the co-op program at the Lazaridis School is the largest business degree co-op program in the country. While you were at Laurier, you did your work terms with IBM, and you actually had a full-time job offer upon graduating, but you ended up in London, England for a year, trading futures with Credit Suisse. Can you tell us a little about how that happened and the impact you think that had on your career?
Sure. Well, it was a great work experience being at IBM. I was in 3 different departments over my time there. And actually the job offer that I had was with a different company, with a consulting company, and a job that I really, really wanted. I had an opportunity because we finished in August, our final year as co-op students. That job wasn't going to begin until early the following year. And I had what's called British patriality, the ability to live and work in the UK indefinitely. And I thought, okay, I'll use that time between graduation and when I might get this job offer to go overseas, see a little bit more of England, play a little bit of rugby. I had been over on a rugby tour during my high school years, and I thought I would check out the job market. And it was the time because I was legal to work there, although I had no leads at all. I had my degree from Laurier. I had some experience investing on my own, And it was the time of what they called the Big Bang, the real deregulation in the financial services industry in the UK. And it was a bull market. And I got on a course, actually, a trading course with regard to financial futures. I got a scholarship to do a short course, a very practical course. And during that time, I interviewed with a number of firms and ended up getting a job offer from Credit Suisse First Boston. And at that time, they were the leading Eurobond trader in the world. They were a very, very successful company. And I had to think long and hard. And then it did turn out that I did get a job offer from that, a firm job offer from that consulting company. So I had to make a decision. And I decided that while I was young, I would take the opportunity to work abroad. And so I accepted the job with Credit Suisse and turned down that consulting job. And I had a fascinating experience at Credit Suisse. I was there. I gained a lot of responsibility very early in my career, was quite successful, and got to experience not only the very strong end of the bull market, but the crash of '87. And I probably learned as much during that period. I like to say, as an investor, you often learn more in how you manage risk and protect capital during downturns, and not just what I had to do, but working in a team environment and watching how some of the senior traders and executives managed risk around that. It was a very scary, very exciting time, but also a time when I learned a lot, and it really, I did quite well through that piece. And, actually at that point, earned enough money that it gave me the flexibility to think about, what I might want to do next. But it was just a great opportunity to work abroad. I'd always been interested in international business, and I thought, now was the time to do it while I was young and unattached.
It sounds like, it was such a great opportunity for you at such an early age, right out of your undergrad, to, as you said, get some experience in the bond market and, get some experience working internationally. Now, you took some time out of the office after Credit Suisse to backpack around the world. What did you learn while encountering all those different cultures? And what advice would you have for some of our recent grads who are thinking about something similar once it's safe to travel again?
Yeah, good point. Well, I always had an interest in international business. Really, as I studied at Laurier, I always had a personal interest in politics and history and economics. And I had a particular interest in what was going on, the developments in China and in East Asia at the time. It was the earlier days of the reforms that were starting to take hold in China. And you know what? I had made some money and decided that I wanted to travel and see a bunch of the world, India, China, and many places in between for an extended period of time. And I'd been influenced by meeting, while I was living in England, met a lot of Australian and New Zealander Kiwi friends who traveled for long periods of time. It's sort of a rite of passage in their countries. And I thought, if I don't do this now, I may never do it for the period of time that I want to do it and the way I want to do it in a slow fashion, and get to really go explore, go trekking in the Himalayas, go trekking in the deserts, do just things that you won't be able to do once you're maybe with a family and kids. And so I decided to do that for an indeterminate period of time, really until my money ran out. And I was very fortunate that my boss at Credit Suisse, to his credit, said he wondered why I would want to do this, because I decided to leave the firm. And he said, boy, if you ever run out of money, just go to our nearest office, wherever you are, and use me as a reference. And which was very kind, which was really kind. But he said, I think you're doing the right thing for you. Do what you want to do while you're young and get it out of your system, have the adventure. And for me, that's what it was. It was a chance to experience a bunch of cultures. I spent a bunch of time in China, in mainland China. I was actually there during the Tiananmen Square incident, and by that time, and started to learn Mandarin Chinese. I picked up the language while I was there because I was in some very, very remote areas. So I really got to know a number of cultures quite well. Also during my time, I did some trekking in the Himalayas, and then got a job working as a trekking guide, actually taking people on treks, not climbing, but take them to the base camp of Mount Everest, take them around the Annapurna circuit in Nepal, or to Kashmir and Ladakh in northern India. And again, a job that didn't pay a lot, but a chance to spend a year in a really beautiful part of the world, doing something that I really loved and that I wouldn't be able to do another time in my life. So I think it's really about follow your spirit and recognize that there are times in your life when you have a lot more flexibility, and don't push everything off till a rainy day. So if there's something that you really want to pursue, go ahead and do it. And that was really what prompted that trip. And it was one of the best things I ever did in my life.
I think that's great advice for, some of our students who are going to be graduating the next couple of years, to, capitalize when they have the free time and, find something that, is going to drive them, right? Find some purpose behind some of their, trips and their treks. So 3 years after you joined Gluskin Sheff, you created a program to hire co-op students. And you've spoken a little bit about your affinity to the co-op program already, but during your 20 years, you hired over 135 Lazaridis School students. What was it about the finance students that, kept you coming back, hiring more every term?
Well, first of all, I figured that we were a growing business and there was a lot of work to be done. And I was a very junior. I was an analyst at the time. I wasn't a portfolio manager, but having been a co-op student myself, I knew what co-ops are capable of. They're smart, they're inexpensive, they're hardworking, they're keen to learn, they'll work long hours when needed. And so I suggested to my bosses, to the partners of the firm, that we should consider it. And we hired one to begin with, and then another, and then another, and then two, and then three in certain terms. And really, it was the quality of the students at the end of the day. It was they produced great work. Many of them, I won't name names, but many of them have gone on to be very successful folks in the financial services industry and in other industries have gone on. Many are, real luminaries on Bay Street and abroad. And it was really just the quality of the students proved out, and helped us make money, did research on individual companies, helped us with programming, setting up systems, sometimes working in the business development area or in the investing area. And it's really the quality of the students. And I think students who are attracted to co-op have a practical orientation. They've chosen co-op for a particular reason. They want to be practitioners. They want to learn in a hands-on environment. And the investment world, certainly the buy-side investment world, lends itself to that. There's lots of work that can be done. There's lots of people who want to be, good mentors. And at the end of the day, it was success breeds success. And so we hired a lot of students during my time there and beyond.
I think that's, again, really speaks to the strength of the students who, not only come into the Lazaridis School, but, who stay in and then get into the co-op program after second year. And to switch gears a little bit, the COVID pandemic cut the 2020 season short for the Toronto Arrows. And this year, your team has been temporarily relocated to the US. As president of the club, what has the last 12 months been like running the team?
You've had to be ready for anything. It's been full of surprises and uncertainty, and that's life in a pandemic, and that's life in business often. This is just an exaggerated version, and I think the key to getting through it is to having a really great team of people. And I think most things in almost any business comes down to the people that you're working with. And we have a great team at the Arrows. I don't have a lot of day-to-day responsibility, but I got a great team of people working underneath, who are from our COO and general manager to our business development people, our partnership folks, our ticketing folks who've temporarily, and everybody's had to adjust their jobs, to this new COVID environment. And our team has had to do that as well, and our coaching staff. And, it's really about being flexible, and it's about believing in what you're doing. The Arrows are very integral to a sport that I love. They're crucial to the development of the sport for both men and women and all kinds of rugby in Canada. Many of the members of the national team play for us, and it's really been an opportunity for people, both
our on-field staff and our off-field staff to show a lot of leadership and a lot of ingenuity and innovation to keep this going. And to our league, the fact that we have not missed, the league has not, we're almost halfway through the season and not a single game has been missed or postponed yet due to the pandemic. So at a league level and at a team level, we're very proud of what we're all accomplishing together.
And that's, one heck of an accomplishment not to have missed any games, given, what's been going on in, the US and, all of the different factors there. I'm just looking at the clock and I see we're almost out of time. And I have one last question for you. You've been a strong advocate for the game of rugby and its growth in Canada through your work with the Canadian Rugby Federation. What leadership skills do you think rugby has taught you, and how have you been able to parlay those into the boardroom?
Yeah, well, rugby is a very complex game. There are 15 players on the field at any given time on each team, and everybody's on offense and everybody's on defense when you're on. Everybody's a eligible scorer and everybody's an eligible tackler, and there's a lot of chaos, and there's fast guys, big guys, small guys, or women if you're playing the women's game, and it's the only contact sport that I'm aware of, no one's proven me differently on this, that's played by exactly the same rules or laws, as we call them in rugby, by both men and women. So it's a very complex game. It's a very rough game. We work hard, we play hard. I captained my first sports team ever in high school in rugby, and I certainly wasn't the best player on the team, but I think I had a certain vision, a certain sense of how we needed to communicate and how we needed to develop a culture and sort of connecting the dots, amongst members of the team, both on and off the field. And that was really my first big leadership opportunity, was being, I was a bit of a geeky academic kid, but I played rugby, and being asked to be the co-captain of my team really helped me feel confident that I could be a leader where needed and what leadership required sometimes. And those elements of, integrity, the ability to communicate, the ability to, often convey messages that people may or may not want to hear, the ability to be a good ambassador for whether it's your team or your company, having certain passion for what you're doing, again, whether it's a business or for your team, or in the case of the Arrows, they're one and the same. It's a business and a team. Those things are all, those qualities, those skills are things that you can develop through almost any sport. And for me, rugby was a real crucible. And I played at Laurier for 4 years as well, and captained the team for 2 of those years. And again, a really good challenge that helped me step up. And the sport, rugby is a sport that leads with its values. When people talk about the 5 core values of rugby, they're integrity, respect, solidarity or teamwork, passion, and discipline. And, those are 5 very good core values, I think, for any person and for any business person. And so for me, they're very complementary. And rugby is also a very inclusive sport. Again, for men, women, it's been very, very open for the LGBTQ community. We've been, in terms of inclusiveness, our sport has been really at the forefront, and that's something we can be proud of. And it's also it's a global sport, and it doesn't require a lot of equipment, and therefore it's very accessible to people of all regions and most climates and most income groups. And so I'm really keen to see the sport spread throughout the world for both men and women.
Bill, thank you for sharing your insights and experience with us today. I know it'll be of great value to everyone in the Lazaridis School and Laurier community. Thank you for watching Beyond the Degree, featuring Bill Webb, partner at Waypoint Investment, president at the Toronto Arrows, and a graduate of the Lazaridis School.